Hello and welcome to part two regarding the origins of the Nation of Islam. I not many people realize this, but Fard Wallace, who seem to have three or four different names depending on his location or what crime he's been arrested for. But Fard Wallace Muhammad was not always a Nation of Islam. He actually came from the Moorish Science Temple, where he created a cocktail of what would be Islamic beliefs today. Fard Muhammad, he was taught under a dubious prophet who himself regards himself to be Jesus, Buddha, Hare Krishna, to which why we have so much metaphors, similes, and Eastern mix of beliefs inside the of Islam. When the Moorish Science Temple split over stabbing, I think in 1929, they were having arguments over funding. It being about money, as it always is. It led to a murder. Fard was a member of this Moorish Science Temple, and what he did, he took away beliefs, philosophies from it, which then he concocted with Elijah Muhammad, right? Hence, Nation of Islam regarding Fard to be, a messiah. It's not unique because inside the Moorish Science of Temple, they regarded that they've seen thousands of messiahs, thousands of Buddhists. It's a strange, Eastern mix of witchcraft and Judaism, paganism. That's what you sort of get involved with when you start to look at the strange beliefs, of the Moorish Science Temple, from which Master Fard came from. He obviously utilized this and saw himself as the reincarnation of the Messiah. So what they did, they tipped into the Hebrew system of the Bible and turned it for their own religious purposes. Okay, so the Hebrew Christ Messiah, they obviously, if you like, twisted it all so that Master Fard became the Messiah, but the reincarnation, to which obviously then he calls him Allah. So there's a lot of twisted hocus pocus, that is involved, in the making of the Nation of Islam. Obviously, the Moorish Science Temple closed down, but they reinvented themselves. Hence, not many people know this, but there's so many different branches to the Nation of Islam, but it all comes out of the Moorish Science Temple. Okay, in a second, I'm going to show you the Quran, not the Orthodox Quran, but the old book Quran that the Moorish temple used for their philosophy. And bearing in mind that this religious system is what black people has sort of hatched onto, not realizing the dark background which is filled with murder, gossip, backstabbing, criminality, prison, running from the FBI. And this is what black people have turned to and called mighty God. So what they've done, they've dropped what was a crutch, an emotional and spiritual and historical crutch, i.e. Christianity. They dropped that, and instead, of remaining with that clean, fresh, historical water, which made sense, they took on the sewage works. There's no comparison. They took on something that was hatched and botched in some dubious Islamic history and trying to pass it off as black culture, black religion. It gets too complex as you begin to look at it. You begin to realize black people, yet again, has been fleeced. They're now worshipping a white male criminal who's known to the FBI, and he has, I think it's four arrests, and served time in prison, and they called him Allah. This white criminal, they call him Allah and Messiah. It gets complicated. So when Louis Farrakhan says, "Mighty God Himself in the person of Master Fard Muhammad," he knows what he's talking about. He's trying to pretend Master Fard Muhammad is the Logos, as we know the Logos to be in the Bible, God becoming flesh. So he's trying to confuse the two, and that's how cults work. They take something which is true and they attach it to something which is false until it becomes so cloudy your mind can't decipher the trees from the wood. Unless, of course, you read a lot and you understand Hebrew thinking, Hebrew philosophy, only then could you cut through this nonsense. Obviously, black people at that time who were oppressed, hearing the white man is the devil, thought that this came from a black person. Of course, Elijah Muhammad, who was, for marketing purposes, he was black. Elijah Muhammad. I'll go into Elijah Muhammad's sleazy past in my next series, right? But Elijah Muhammad became the face which promoted Nation of Islam. A white face would not have done. So Fard stayed in the, sorry, the sun's in my face, right? Fard stayed in the background, knowing full well that if the black people had seen his white face, the game would have been up. So he had to stay in the background and use Elijah Muhammad as his front person, his marketing ploy for the scam to work. I'm going to show you now a clip of the book that Nation of Islam actually is built, their tradition, their philosophy is built in. Never mind they dip into the Bible and dip into the Quran. Nation of Islam is all over the place. They don't even know what the hell they believe in, which is why they're so contradictory, inconsistent with their metaphors, their symbols, their history. You know, they don't even know what they believe in. And the reason being, when you lie so much, you have to cover up another lie until you start to lose focus. But let me now give you that clip so you can see what I mean. As you can see from the pictures I sent, the Nation of Islam are not being true to black people. For number one, they took on Scientology. Where the money is, that's where they nose like a pig is snout leads them where the money is. And Scientology offered them money. I think it's £3 million to introduce Dianetics. You know, and now they've gone for that philosophy too. You know, as I said, that they seem to have an Eastern mix of anything goes. Right, but if you look at the tradition, right, Master Fard Muhammad, in the Moorland, the Moors, give me 2 seconds, right, you know, the Moorish Science Temple, right, they had a cocktail of Eastern mix and, you know, every mumbo jumbo going. So bearing that in mind, it's easy for Louis Farrakhan to buy into Scientology and Dianetics because that's their tradition. They'll bring anything in this mix and make it work. You know, it's become a dumping ground of all dumping grounds. And if you look at the picture as well, which I sent of Master Fard Muhammad, look at the dates. He was arrested 4 times. 4 times. He's got mug shots, and he went to prison. In 1929, when the stabbing of, you know, it took place in Moorish temple, that was how Master Fard Muhammad started to reinvent, you know, a template for himself, where he started to call himself call himself God and Messiah, etc. Now, I don't want to start preaching, but this part is important. Louis Farrakhan, how he sold this garbage to black people. He knew that we had a Christian background. He knew that. So, in order to tap into the psychology and the subconscious mind of black people, how do you do it? You rewrite the biblical text. So instead of the Jewish Messiah, Yeshua or Yahweh, as we know him to be, as instead it is Almighty God Himself. He's referring to Fard, a white criminal, right? He's the Messiah, right? When he says, "Oh, and God Himself," he's still referring to Fard. He's giving him a Trinity status, right? He's giving him a Logos status. But black people, if you look at the Nation of Islam, whenever they're preaching, you can guarantee it's always out the Bible, never the Quran. And the reason being, they're clever. They are satisfying a need for this audience who came from Christian backgrounds. So they love that kind of, Pentecostal charismatic talk from the Bible. But they put a Muslim, Moorish, twist on it. Right? So when he says, "And I will send you Elijah," right, from the Hebrew system, but no, what he means is Elijah Muhammad. That's how they twist things. And black people who, if you ever, when I was, raised in church, and the pastor would say, "Open your Bible on this page and this chapter, etc." And they would read you one line, and they said, "Now turn to this chapter," and another line, "Now turn to this." And without even look at the context of what the verse said before. That's how you brainwash people. Right? You say, wait there. What's the context? What's the culture of the time? Right? Who was the writer addressing? You would not take an extract of William Shakespeare's book without looking at the context of the whole play. You wouldn't do that, right? But they do with the Bible. And as such, many people get easily brainwashed, not understand the culture, the context, the historical reason why such a thing was said. So black people's brains became easy meat. Right? So Fard Muhammad became the Messiah. This criminal, this white criminal, became the Messiah. He became Allah in person. This is what black people have, taken to their homes. We threw out the clean water and we took in sewage. The Christianity that sustained black people, we came up with beautiful gospel music, beautiful gospel Negro spiritual out of Christianity. Yet look at Islam, that dead religion, can't produce no fruit, can't produce nothing, because it's all about money and political anger. That's what it is, money and political anger, and obviously its roots is built on criminals and crooks who met in prison, Elijah Muhammad and Fard, and decided we got a good earner here, nice little earner. Black people are so stupid and foolish. We're bound to make money. And they were right. And they're still making money. Even though black people are waking up very slowly to see the Nation of Islam for what it really is. But only very, very slowly. But the Quran that you see that the Moorish used is not the same as the Orthodox Muslim uses. It's totally different. They might take extracts from it or give it a Muslim feel to it. Hence why, if you ever talk to a black Nation of Islam, they don't even know what they're talking about. They're all over the place. Mothership and this ship, they take from the Bible, take from the Quran, take from here. And the reason being, they don't know what they really believe in. Only one person they believe in is Master Fard Muhammad. That's the only person they believe in, a white criminal. So you're leaving Christianity, a white man's religion, to worship actually a white criminal. What does that tell you about black people?